used to work the early shift at a small coffee shop in Boston, the kind of place where the regulars had their table and everyone knew the barista's name. Every morning at exactly 6:10 a.m., an older man would walk in. Gray jacket, worn baseball cap, same quiet smile. He never ordered anything fancy, just a small black coffee. For the first few weeks, it was a normal customer interaction. "Morning," I'd say. "Morning," he'd reply. But eventually, I noticed something. He never sat down. Instead, he would take the coffee, walk to the big window facing the street, and stand there silently for a few minutes, just staring across the road. Then he would leave. One day, curiosity got the best of me. I walked over and asked, "You waiting for someone?" He smiled softly but shook his head. "Not exactly." That was it. No explanation. But the next morning, I noticed where he was looking. Across the street was a hospital. After that, I started paying more attention. Every day at 6:10 a.m., he would come in, buy the same coffee, stand at the window, and stare at that hospital building like he was searching for something. Weeks passed. Winter turned into early spring. One morning when he came in, I noticed his hands were shaking slightly when he handed me the money. "You okay?" I asked. He nodded slowly. "My wife's in that hospital," he said quietly. It was the first time he'd ever offered any real information. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. "She's been there for a while," he added. After that, we started talking a little more each morning. Her name was Linda. They had been married for 43 years. He told me how they met in college, how she used to sing loudly in the kitchen while cooking, how she insisted on decorating for Christmas way too early every year. "She's the loud one," he said once, smiling. "I'm just the guy who listens." I started noticing something else, too. He never actually drank the coffee. He would just hold the cup while looking out the window. One day I joked, "You know that coffee gets cold every morning, right?" He chuckled. "She used to love the smell of coffee," he said, "even when she couldn't drink it anymore." A few days later, he didn't show up. 6:10 came and went. No gray jacket, no baseball cap. The next morning, still nothing. After about a week, I started assuming the worst. Maybe she passed away. Maybe he had stopped coming because it was too painful. Life moved on like it always does. Customers came and went, morning rushes, spilled drinks, endless espresso shots. Then, one afternoon, about a month later, he walked in. But he looked different. His shoulders seemed heavier somehow. I walked over immediately. "I was wondering where you went," I said carefully. He nodded slowly. "She passed away," he said. The words landed softly, but heavily. "I'm sorry," I told him. He stood quietly for a moment before pulling something out of his pocket. It was a small photo. A picture of him and his wife sitting on a porch, both laughing at something outside the frame. "She hated hospitals," he said quietly. "So every morning before visiting hours, I stood here and drank coffee where she couldn't see me, just so I'd look strong when I walked in. I didn't charge him for the coffee that day, or the next one. He still comes in sometimes, still orders the same small black coffee. But now he sits down, and every once in a while he'll look at the cup, smile softly, and say something like, 'Linda would have loved the smell of this.' Working in a coffee shop, you see thousands of people every year, but sometimes one quiet customer reminds you that behind every routine, there's a whole lifetime of love you'll never fully see."